They got paid in paper, drove straight to the bank, and split the cash before dinner. By 6 p.m. on Fridays in 1974, lines stretched down sidewalks, everyone racing to beat the weekend bank closures. If you missed it, you were broke till Monday. So why don't we do any of that now? Let's uncover the habits we lost and why they mattered. 1. Back then, you had to rush to the bank to cash your paycheck, or you were stuck till Monday. In the 1970s, payday meant racing to the bank because your job paid you with paper. Miss Friday's 5 p.m. closing, and you waited all weekend. No direct deposit, no ATMs. Just crowds, long teller lines, and a paycheck in your hand. Some left work early, just to beat the rush. Gas, groceries, bills, nothing moved without cash. More than 80% of workers still got paid by check in 1977. No check cashed, no weekend. It made Friday banking a family strategy. But once you had cash, the real sorting began, and it started with envelopes. 2. People split their money into labeled envelopes. When one was empty, that was the end of it. Once you had your paycheck in cash, it went straight into envelopes, each one labeled rent, gas, food, kids, emergencies. You couldn't overspend because there was nothing to overspend. When the groceries envelope ran out, you stretched meals. When gas got low, you stayed home. Some wrote in big red letters, "Do not touch." No apps, no credit, just paper and discipline. It was tight, but it kept families from going under. One Detroit family, in 1974, even hid their bills envelope inside a flour canister. But is the first envelope always filled? That was the house. 3. The first thing you did was pay the rent and the utility bills. No debate. When payday came, the roof got paid first. Rent, heat, electricity. No debate, no delay. Miss rent in the 1970s, and landlords acted fast. Miss the electric bill, and the power company shut you down. In winter, one Chicago family remembered losing heat in February 1975 after trying to delay just one payment. That lesson stuck. The fridge could go empty before the lights ever went out again. It was about survival. First the shelter, then the rest. But before buying anything else, families looked for their next edge, and it came in a Sunday newspaper. 4. Sundays were for clipping coupons and digging through the paper for store rebates. Sunday wasn't for rest. It was for scissors and strategy. Coupons came inside the big weekend paper, and families clipped everything. Soap, cereal, canned soup. If it saved 10 cents, it went in the folder. By 1973, over 80% of families used manufacturer coupons weekly. The smart ones timed store deals with rebates to double the cut. Some saved $30 on a $60 bill. Kitchen tables became planning stations. Mom clipped, kids sorted. And the good coupons, they went into the purse with the grocery list. But after that, one envelope stayed sealed until absolutely necessary. 5. Gas money got its own envelope, and you didn't touch it for anything else. In the middle of the 1970s gas crisis, families treated fuel money like gold. Gas prices doubled after 1973. And if you used your gas envelope for anything else, you didn't drive. So it stayed sealed. You planned routes like chess moves. No backtracking, no joyrides. One tank had to last the week. Carpooling helped, but only if you paid your share. Some folks even put fuel money in glove boxes, just in case. Gas became more than a cost. It was mobility, freedom, survival. But even parked at home, they made their savings do more than sit. 6. A lot of folks locked their savings in CDS because the interest was better and you couldn't spend it easily. In 1979, inflation hit 11.3%. Savings accounts lost value daily, so families turned to certificates of deposit, CDs. They weren't flashy, but they locked your money away and earned more than a regular account. You had to wait months to touch it, and that helped you leave it alone. Banks offered up to 15% on 5-year CDs by the early 80s. Families trusted these more than stocks. Slow, steady, no drama. It built discipline. But while their savings sat still, their eyes tracked prices, week after week, line by line. 7. Some people kept notebooks tracking the prices of milk, eggs, and bread week by week. Imagine writing down the price of bread every week for years. Many families did just that. A gallon of milk in 1972, around 52 cents by 1979, over $1. A dozen eggs jumped 80% in just 5 years. People wrote it all down in spiral notebooks. Date, item, price, store. This wasn't an obsession. It was survival. With inflation outpacing paychecks, even pennies mattered. A 3-cent difference between stores meant changing shopping routes. And when prices fell, you stocked up. It taught families how fast money could shrink, which is why even car trips had to be planned like missions. 8. You planned your driving like a chess game. One trip, no backtracking, save every drop. Gas hit 86 cents a gallon in 1979, up from 36 cents in 1973. That didn't sound big, unless you were living paycheck to paycheck. Families mapped errands with military precision. Post office, pharmacy, grocery, all in one loop. One wrong turn? That was gas wasted. You didn't run back out. You waited. People circled sale ads and called ahead. Some even carried a notebook of mileage estimates. A misstep at the pump could throw off the whole week's budget. So for better rates, people went somewhere smaller, with better deals, lower fees, and a handshake. 9. Credit unions were the go-to because they actually paid better interest and gave out smaller, fairer loans. Banks felt cold. Credit unions felt like neighbors. Owned by the members, they offered better interest on savings and loans. In 1975, the average credit union loan rate sat around 8%, while bank credit cards charged up to 18%. For working families, those numbers meant the difference between staying afloat or sinking. Teachers, factory workers, nurses, they pooled money and loaned small. Emergency car repair? Credit union. Is the Christmas budget short? Credit union. No late fees, no long waits, just someone at a desk who remembered your name. But the real trap came from department stores and the bills they buried. 10. You paid off store credit first because the interest ate you alive. Big department stores offered credit with a smile and 21% interest behind the scenes. Families charged coats, radios, fridges, and paid forever. By 1978, retail credit debt passed $25 billion. The smart move? Pay the store card off first. Store accounts charged more than banks, had worse penalties, and fewer protections. One family in Newark cut up their Sears card in 1977 after they realized they'd paid double for a washing machine. It scared them straight. That's when they chose layaway instead. Pay slow, own fast, and sleep better. Because if you couldn't buy it outright, you worked for it piece by piece. 11. If you wanted a couch or a TV, you put it on layaway, one payment at a time, no debt. Stores like Sears and Kmart held your item in the back until you finished paying. Families loved it because you controlled the pace. No interest, no surprise fees, no statement arriving in the mail. It felt safe. Some kids remembered visiting the store just to check on the future TV. Layaway kept people out of trouble when credit cards started spreading fast. 12. Meal prepping wasn't a trend. It was how families survived. Big cooking days meant no waste. Sundays meant giant pots of chili, casseroles, or spaghetti sauce. Freezers filled with stacked foil trays. Parents stretched meat with beans or rice. Leftovers became lunches. No one threw food out because prices jumped every month. A family could save real money this way, especially in 1974, when beef shot up more than 20%. 13. Every house had a coin jar somewhere, usually next to the phone or in the kitchen. Loose change went straight into a jar at the end of each day. Pennies, nickels, quarters, whatever survived the store run. Kids loved shaking it, but adults treated it like a mini emergency fund. By the end of the month, that jar could cover milk, bread, or gas during a rough week. Small money mattered. 14. Families joined food co-ops where you paid monthly and got bulk deals in return. You pitched in a small fee, helped with sorting or pickup days, and shared big orders with other families. Co-ops offered grains, produce, and pantry staples far cheaper than supermarkets. It felt like beating inflation together. Some communities built entire calendars around co-op deliveries because the savings changed weekly budgets. 15. Fixing stuff yourself wasn't about saving face. It was about saving money you didn't have. Repair shops charged more each year, so families learned everything: patching hoses, sewing hems, replacing fuses. Hardware stores became second homes. A $3 part could save a $40 service call, and that mattered when paychecks couldn't stretch. Parents taught kids the basics because every skill kept one more bill away. 16. People made little savings stashes for school supplies, car repairs, and tax season, called them sinking funds. It sounded fancy, but it was simple. You set aside a few dollars each payday, so the shock didn't hit later. Come August, school shoes were already funded. When the car needed brakes, the cash waited. These tiny pockets of savings protected families from panic. 17. Loose change didn't go in couch cushions. It went straight into an old coffee can. Those metal Folgers cans were everywhere. You'd hear the rattle when someone added coins. Kids sometimes used one for toy money, but adults kept them for bills that popped up without warning. A full can often held $20 to $30, which helped during tight weeks when gas or groceries jumped overnight. 18. Coupon clubs and swap meets were normal. Families helped each other stretch every penny. Neighbors traded doubles, swapped brand preferences, and shared rebate forms. Some kept shoe boxes filled with clipped offers they traded like baseball cards. A strong coupon club could cut a grocery bill by 20 to 30%. It wasn't extreme, it was survival. Prices climbed fast, and teamwork made the difference. 19. Payday meant budget talk at the kitchen table. Everyone knew where the money was going. Parents spread out bills, receipts, and a calculator. Kids heard terms like due date and balance. Money talk wasn't private because every person in the house felt the pressure. These meetings kept families aligned. No surprises, no hidden spending, no arguments later. When cash ran low, everyone understood why. 20. Buying part of a cow with neighbors meant meat for months and no store markup. Families split a quarter or half cow from a local butcher. Freezers filled with roasts, steaks, and ground beef. The price per pound was far cheaper than supermarkets, especially during the meat inflation spike of 1973. It wasn't rural nostalgia. It was math. One purchase could feed a family all winter, 21. You'd hit 3 different grocery stores if it meant saving 30 cents a pound. People studied circulars like homework. One store had cheap chicken, another had produce deals, another had canned goods on sale. Gas wasn't cheap, so trips happened on the same route. Saving a few dollars mattered because wages lagged behind rising prices. Chasing deals became a normal family routine, 22. Gas was tight, so families organized carpools and settled up at the end of the week. Parents took turns driving to work, school, or church. Riders tossed in a few dollars on Fridays. It helped everyone stay fueled without blowing the budget. During shortages, carpools skipped lines by coordinating fill-ups. People treated fuel like gold because ration rules changed suddenly. 23. You spent money every payday sealing windows and wrapping water heaters to cut down heating bills. Energy costs soared after 1973. Families used weather strips, plastic wrap kits, and insulation blankets to keep heat from leaking out. It wasn't glamorous, but trimming 10% off the heating bill meant real savings. Some people even logged the difference each month to track improvement. Every small fix mattered. 24. A lot of families gave to church or charity before spending on anything fun. It was a valuable thing. Even tight households set aside a few dollars for giving. It offered purpose and stability during the chaos of layoffs and rising costs. Many believed generosity kept a family grounded. Some budgets started with a donation line, then bills, then savings. It echoed through whole communities. 25. After bills and savings, you might get a pizza or go to the drive-in. That was the treat. The treat wasn't big. Maybe a drive-in burger or a single pizza for the whole family. Kids looked forward to it all week. Parents used it as a marker. We made it through another payday. These small celebrations helped families stay hopeful during a decade that drained everyone's patience. These payday habits shaped a generation that knew how to stretch every dollar. Click the next video before it disappears. Another lost money trick is waiting to be uncovered, and you'll want to see it.